must be about getting that thing or something, because I just said it last week, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to go by the clock or by the bell?
The clock, the bell is.
There's a bell early.
Because it's 8:58.
Yes, it is. Look at that. Wow.
Well, I suppose we can take a minute, change the clock.
To catch up the bell. Or do we take a minute and change the bell? Well, let me take a couple minutes.
Well, because, yeah, Kevin has to go up there, and then somebody has to stand outside and tell him when he's right.
Oh, was that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I did that once, and I was a minute off. So, yep. I don't want to do that anymore.
All that effort, you want to make sure you're right. Huh?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're good. And then he got all back down, and then we realized it was a minute off.
Oh, man.
And now you're a minute slow. Morning, Tom.
Morning.
You got a busy morning.
That's close enough. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you get a chance to look at the news and agenda?
We did. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
Yeah, I'll second that. A motion from Derby and a second from Cedric, approve minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Well, we didn't quite 9:05 yet.
We can go to drainage.
And go, Council 13.
I just have one. Steve Helm put in a petition in Hancock County to do some work. And then all of a sudden I got a note from Ann that they'd like to appoint an engineer, but it's a tile hole. So I don't really know what's happening, but they want to know if you can do a teleconference, maybe next Monday. So I'll try to find out some more information and send you. Yep.
Just tell them to call me.
Okay.
Like they have in the past.
Okay. So do you want me to have them call all of you?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right. And then I'll try, like I said, I'll try to find some more information on why we're getting an engineer for a tile hole, but
Unless they think the whole thing is going to fail or something,
maybe.
once they start fixing.
And it's that district that they're cleaning out that entire length of the ditch, that 3937.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I would hope that we don't have the same engineer that we do now for that project.
We all enjoy that. Well, let's see.
County claims.
I want you guys to go through them.
Okay.
So that's why I put it last.
Good
Morning.
How's the appointment? How's the appointment?
I guess we could go to open forum for a little bit. Thomas.
Check him up. Oh, hi. Winnebago County Veterans Affairs, I'd just like to put out Hunting with Heroes in Lakota, Iowa on Sunday, November 12th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. It's to honor wounded veterans that have come back from recent areas of conflict, and they'll be provided shotguns and escorted with hunting dogs hunting experience, all paid for by Hunting with Heroes. The dinner is also free to veterans. They traditionally in the past have gotten totes with gifts, recognitions from sponsors, and co-op gas cards. And it's at the Eagle Center in Lakota on Sunday the 12th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. and the dinner starts, I believe, 5.
What was the date on this again?
November 12th, Sunday. And veterans from all surrounding counties come to it. There's probably about 400 or 500 veterans that came last year.
Good.
And I'll be representing.
That's a pretty cool deal. Last year, they awarded somebody that does quotes for veterans, and there's 5 or 6 veterans that were awarded quotes. It's a pretty cool deal.
How many years have you been doing that?
4 or 5? That's
Four or
just a
five?
guess. I mean, it
Seems longer than that, so.
does.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue for quite a while.
No, it seems to have good success, participation.
Farmers are good. They open up their land to let the guys hunt there.
Bernie's got that, and they Lee Kiewitz there too, don't
Yep.
they? Yep.
Yep. And then Hy-Vee, I think, donates food or a big portion of it. And
I can personally vouch for the number of pheasants there at Lee's.
Oh.
Farm right across from there, my nephew lives there, they're running all over the place.
I only have one other thing. In order, so they have an idea of how many people are attending for the catered meal. They need registration and who you're bringing, and if you have a vet, bring them. But Denny Murrah is a contact in Buffalo Center. Also, you can give my office a call at 641-585-5736.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Now it's 9:05. Rick Hopper, Jacobs, and Westergaard to discuss with possible action, annexation report on DD 103.
I think it's important to get you oriented. You probably may know where it is without any of this, but that's the outline of DD 103. And we're going to be talking about annexation to start with, and then reclassification. What often happens with a reclassification is we discover land that's in the watershed that isn't paying. And this is like most of them. We found some, not very many acres, I think 33 acres or something like that.
3.97.
Okay. So, like I say, not a lot of acres. We always include a drawing in the back, and you can see that it's just down at the south limits of the district where the acres are. We're recommending that you accept the report and set a hearing date. And I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit because this is going to affect how you want to set a hearing date. We got several reports for cleanouts today, and 40 days out is like December 19th. But what we'd like to do is on those cleanouts, have the bid letting the same day as the hearing on the report. The best time for bid letting would be January. So I guess I just want you to think about other things you're going to be doing for setting hearing dates and see if you want to just coordinate all that. Makes sense. I don't think this, yeah.
Figured out how to get that.
Yeah.
What is this orange going?
Those are, that's a boundary.
Okay.
That's the lower boundary of the open ditch part, as far as watershed. Anything south of those drain into the tile. So that's really it, 33.9 some acres. And it requires a hearing, like everything you do for reports. And so it'd be setting a date for that.
Yeah, I guess I didn't follow you. That's all, the orange line is the boundary, but what? Here's the boundary, correct?
Yeah, the red line is the boundary, overall boundary. This orange line is the divide between who drains into the ditch
Oh, okay.
and who drains into the tile. Yeah.
Kind of goes back to the discussion we had at the last meeting on.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing, the people in the ditch shouldn't have to be paying for the tile. And how do you do that? It's a reclassification and
Looks
and
like
we're gonna
the
be
other
doing
area
that.
that got added was, is it Peterson's property there?
Oh, yeah, got that one.
We all know where the old A&W was.
I even know where that was. I've been growing up in Pennsylvania. So yeah, glad to answer any questions. Not many acres. It's just something we nearly always find doing a reclassification, and it just cleans it up and gets the right people in there.
Okay, so the action on this would be.
Just the report.
To accept the report.
Make a motion.
That's what you're doing to start with,
I'll
right?
second Mike's motion.
Motion Sedgwick, second from Derby to accept the annexation report on DD 103. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Nope, you're good.
9:10 a.m. It's 9:09.
Same district.
Yeah, I'm guessing as many will show up from the,
Well, it was the people that were here last week that.
No, there's nobody coming. This is just for you to look at the report to set the
Right.
public hearing for the people.
yeah.
So,
But if they would have seen it on our agenda, they probably would have
If
been.
there was people that wanted to be here,
they'd have been here.
see, we waited until 9:05 for the first one, and then we saw how many people showed up. So,
Well, we killed another minute now.
yeah, there we go now.
All right.
Yep.
9:10 a.m. Rick Hopper, Jacobs, and Westergaard to discuss a possible action reclassification report on DD 103.
Okay, the reclassification report includes the tile, the open ditch, the main tile, all the laterals. What I'm gonna give you is just the open ditch because it lists everybody in the watershed. And I'll just do a real quick review on our procedure on reclassification. The code is very limited in what it says. 100 points per acre for the land getting the most benefit, and then it graduates down from that there for lesser benefit. This reflects all the land in 103. The total acres is 1,760 acres. We spread $10,000 just, it works better if the commissioners and I can look at dollars. It's just kind of how things pop into your head. How is this land paying compared to this land? We use the soils. The soils tell us so much. Crop suitability, is it underlain with sand? What's the expected production for crops? Slope. The soils, so many of the soils have slope descriptions, and they break it down like 0 to 1%, 2 to 3%, 4 to 9%. The land with more slope on it gets fewer points. It's just, anymore if somebody buys a quarter section, they may go in and pattern tile it. But the land with the more slope just doesn't need it as much. It runs off. So there's fewer points. So we have the whole summary of soils with the points per acre. And then the other thing we do is proximity factor. Basically it's that color drawing, and what it reflects is the further you have to go to get to the county system, the less you pay, because you're going to have an expense to get to that county system. So the ones way at the south end, they have to go a long ways to get to the ditch. So we ended up, I think, with a 25% reduction down there. This has worked out good. I should find some wood to knock on because we haven't had one of these challenged yet. And I believe it's mostly because the commissioners try and be fair about it, trying to understand the system, see if they agree or disagree, see what adjustments should be made, see if they agree with the adjustments we're looking at. And this is the end result of all of that. We've been through the hearing on DD1, I believe, for reclassification. That went fairly smoothly. I thought with that many landowners, there may be a lot more objections, but that went well. I would expect this to go well too.
The only thing I can see is Susan Smith did talk to me after last week, and her late husband had tiled some, so the water goes the other way. So I can see where maybe she would want to maybe lessen her assessment because of that.
So are we talking not in that district type of lessening assessment, or?
Well, I don't know how it works. I know Carla was saying that it had happened in the past where you can, if you can prove that your water is going another direction, you can lessen your assessment. Her land is still in this watershed, she'll have something, but maybe it would be less. That would be something I would assume she'd have to go through with Rick and
Yes.
That would be the
determine that.
very southeast corner
Yes.
of her property.
And what would happen is it would leave everybody's assessments the same. It won't change anyone else's. It will just lessen hers.
Yeah.
If she does that.
What the drainage attorneys say is you're not changing the benefit on anybody else because their points breakers stay the same, but you can lessen individual landowners. We've done that before. If the tile goes one way and the surface another, we'll typically reduce 50% each way so they're not paying more than they should with the combined assessment of the two districts. So
Then
if she,
they would be assessed out of a different drainage district.
yes,
right?
yes, correct.
Who picks up that percentage if we take that out?
No one, it just,
No, I know, but
Well,
obviously
in
there's a cost
essence,
there that she's not gonna have, so who's gonna pick that up?
in essence, everybody shares it based on the proportion of the cost they would have had before.
Now that, and I think she put that into the district we just annexed on the DD2, is it?
is it two? I don't know which one's right there. It
Yeah.
must be two.
I'm pretty sure it's last spring or whatever.
But we didn't reclassify two, so what would happen is she's just not in two. So she's getting a free benefit for that.
I was gonna say, if she's not into,
And she may be, I don't know for a fact that answer either, but if she's not, for that land, she's just getting a free benefit until that gets
I'm
reclassified.
talking a lot of acres there.
I know those two parcels have 70 acres. Where they're at in relation to each other, I don't know.
I know there's kind of a low area in that southeast corner, in that very southeast 40. It's 15 acres, 20 acres.
Yeah, but that'll be up to her. We can bring that up at the hearing, and that's her option. But that, I was just wanting you to know that, if that could be a possibility.
I was just gonna say, any tile maps she'd have would be real helpful.
Her dad, she was telling me, used to
He was-
survey a lot of this. He
Oh.
has all the original records from a
Oh,
lot of districts in the county.
oh, wow,
So,
okay,
yeah.
great source. So this will be one you'll end up needing to set a hearing for when you get to that item too.
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the reclassification report. Reading 103.
Accepting the report? Good. I'll second the motion.
motion from Studger, second from Derby, to accept the reclassification report for DD 103. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, set public hearing date for annexation and reclassification reports for DD 103.
I don't know what January dates look like.
I didn't bring the calendar for myself.
I don't either.
Let's see, 16th,
January
9th.
2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th.
I don't think we should do the second because you'll have that your first
Yeah.
meeting of the year. So what's the next one?
9th,
9th? Does that work?
I'm open that far out.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's go ahead with that, then make a motion.
At what time?
We're gonna be busy that day if we're gonna do all of these reports and bid lettings that day, so should we just start right away at 9?
Maybe so,
Right, I'll second the motion.
Motion from Studger, second from Derby, to set the public hearing date for the annexation and reclassification reports for DD 103, 1/9/18 at 9 o'clock. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. 9:15 a.m. Consider for approval engineer report on DD1 Lab 2.
Okay, tired of reports here, but again, I like getting people oriented. The very back page of the report shows where this is. It comes off of your main ditch 1 that you have a contract out on right now for clean out. And we actually have a set of plans to go with it, but it's pretty cumbersome. Chris has a copy of that in her office if you want to refer to it. We'll just review it quickly, what we found. I think this is basically part of Drainage District number 1. It's DD number 1, lateral 2. Good idea. And it was established in 1899. This is actually the earliest one I think I've worked on. I've worked on several in the early 1900s, but 1899. You can see the general route it follows. We check the silt depth in all of this. Gets a little tricky at times. We probe to try and find hard bottom, but we also try and refer back to the old plans and figure out where that grade is supposed to be. So the most silt we found was 3.3 feet of silt, and a lot of it has 1.5 to 2 feet of silt. So there's some blockage going on and outlets into the district ditch. So our recommendation would be to clean all of lateral 2, and the quantities and costs for that are reflected on the bottom half of page 2 of the report. 27,509 cubic yards of excavation. In the bid form, we'll convert that to lineal feet of ditch also, because your contractors here are used to bidding that. That's what Chris has told me. So
This one is lap 4.
Oh, did I give you that 4?
I think you got lap 2. Yeah, he's got lap 2.
Ah!
We got lap 4.
Well, what in the world?
I was looking at that map, so it should look different than the one I was.
Oh, yeah, these are all.
This one.
I don't know how somehow I ended up with extra lat 4s. Yeah, that should be okay. Is that heading say lat 2?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Do you have any more of those?
Yeah, let me,
Here's mine.
and I can give you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know how that happened. Okay.
That's all right.
Somebody could look at my highlighted one here too if they want to. Basically, what we found was a lot of silt. And silt means cost, but it also means lost drainage. So we always include any of the outlet pipes that we find that need repair. But what I emphasize is that when you clean out a ditch, you're going to find more outlet pipes that have been covered with grass or broken off. So that item will increase before the project is completed.
Usually does.
Yeah, nearly always. Yeah. So we've estimated the cost of the clean out to be $119,000. We always include some contingencies just for unknowns. I think every engineer company I know of does that. We've got the estimated engineering, legal, and admin costs, interest on warrants, total project cost, including everything. Well, I back up a little. I put $500 for reclass. That's really been done as part of Lab 1. It's just if there's anything we have to go back to and look at or refer to, it may be zero. But I allowed 500 just in case there's some time involved there. Based on 8,141 acres, the average cost per acre is just under $20. It's at the bottom of page, there, the top of page 3. Yep. So, very cost effective for what they get with this. It's a repair. Basically, by code, if it's found that the repair is necessary, you're obligated to proceed. So the repair is, it just kind of takes control out of your hands, but I'm sure there were reasons for that originally.
I think back when I first got on the board, didn't the upper part of this get cleaned out?
I don't remember.
And it seemed strange to me at that time, why would the upper part get cleaned up and not the lower part?
Well, we used to just do what was needed. Now we do the whole length. When we do a cleanup. But before we just, if there was a problem in your spot, we just cleaned your spot.
This would have been about 2010, 2011, there was, it seemed the top half was cleaned out.
That was trees and brush, wasn't it?
Just trees and brush,
I believe.
okay.
Wasn't that up there by, Crawl?
No, it's, the part I remember from Harmon Lake, to me, it seemed like it was from Harmon Lake down past the bend or something.
When a lot of counties do spot cleanouts, they'll have somebody run that along that whole distance with an excavator, taking out what they think blockage is. It could have been just like that.
Okay.
It's logical.
Yeah, I didn't have a reporter, it was before I got on the board. I just got the tail end of the reports. Fine.
So the culvert that's on A30, that's higher too, at least that's what I have in mind.
That'll be a different report in a little bit.
Oh, okay, that's what's,
It's a different lateral, but we'll be talking about that, yeah.
yes, we will be.
Very good.
I guess I'll make a motion to accept the engineer's report on DD 1 Lat 2.
Second that. Moving second to Center, approve the engineer's report on DD 1 Lat 2, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Number 6, set public hearing date for engineer report on DD 1 Lat 2.
Found them, covered them up.
How much time do we think we need between,
Yeah, so it's just
we don't want to short ourselves time.
10, 15 minutes, set it up.
I don't know, because
I
if
think the
the
first
same
one-
people come that were here last week, they may have more questions.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of the culverts, the road culverts, this is pretty much cut and dry,
Yeah.
isn't it? So-
Yes.
Well, but for 103, because 103's first at 9 o'clock, how long do you think that one will take? That's the thing.
Would be 15 minutes.
I guess the worst thing that could happen is if you set it relatively short, then people will just have to wait until we're done with the first one, I guess. It'll be later, just not about time.
Do you want to say like 9:15, or do you want to give it 9:20? I don't want to sit and wait either and have downtime.
Yeah,
I would say 15 minutes would be,
Well, do,
because it's just on reclass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Reclass and annexation.
like we say, we could rescind our motion and put that one last.
No,
If we think that's gonna be the longest.
no, I would say not. The only question would be if Sue comes in and says she didn't want all of her acres fully classified.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
alright.
So I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for January 9th at 9:20.
Second that.
Motion already severed Sedgwick, set public hearing date for engineer report DD 1 Lot 2 on January 9th at 9:20. All in favor say aye. Aye. 9:20 a.m. Consider for approval engineer's report on DD 1 Lot 4.
Okay, lateral 4, you have lateral 4 now that I gave you. There's another one if you don't.
You don't have one.
Okay. Lateral 4 is just a mile and a half west of lateral 2. I have,
So lateral 4 does not cross the blacktop? Oh, okay.
here's a lateral 4 plan sheets.
Oh, there it shows it.
Yeah, yep. This one is, we have some issues with this one and how to handle it, and we'll talk through that now and get some landowner input also. But the orange line here is the lateral 4 route, and it crosses that road, and I understand that's like 7 or 8 inches of concrete over asphalt.
Yep.
So, the problem is the cover there is too high, based on old records and what we found for bottom. But it's a project, you probably wouldn't replace it for 10 or 15 years if it wasn't for drainage issues. So I've included a cost estimate for cleaning this out, repairing the outlet pipes, but stopping at 450th because of the cost involved, the condition of the pipe, and all of that. So,
What does that do to the integrity of the ditch going north?
it
Does that accelerate the silt?
Probably not a lot because it's silted in so much already.
Yeah, but that'll be cleaned out.
Well, that's
So
what.
it'll just start silting in again
Yes,
faster.
yes. Basically, whatever you take out will start accumulating again because it's going to have to go over like a 2-foot jump to get out. The culvert at the outlet of sub 1 that dumps into lateral 4, it's also high, but it's in horrible shape. I mean, there's timbers in there holding it up. So that's not a big deal to get that lowered. But the pipe under the paved road is an issue. On lateral 4, I was going to see if I had the silt amount. Yeah, lateral 4, just the part we're talking about, has as much as 3.5 feet of silt in it itself, with a lot of it 3 feet or more. But we did stop the clean out quantities at the paved road at this time. The cost to the district above the paved road wouldn't be very much, but the cost of secondary roads would be a lot, because I think we had 102-inch pipe there, we called it. Big pipe, good condition, under a majorly paved road. One thing that was mentioned this morning as maybe a possibility to think about was boring a smaller pipe under the road to carry the low flows. We have done that before. It's a little unusual, and I think we should work with secondary roads and what that would take. We can talk some more before the hearing, maybe have some options how to handle that.
Or just to the one side or the other, or underneath it?
One side or the other, probably.
And
Yeah.
lower.
Yes,
lower.
yeah.
It wouldn't be
Couple
wrong.
feet lower
Like this.
and just off to the side enough that you miss the old pipe, is my thoughts anyway. If we were to bore it, is that kind of the general way you think of it?
I would think it'd be a little bit of a tricky project to get that deep and get the
Yeah.
pits dug and everything, so
Yeah, it would be.
feasibility, I'd have to talk to some people who
Sure.
know more about it.
About that, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
But Rick, we were talking about the tile outlets above the culvert that goes under the road, and those are at least visible and able to outlet. They don't have a lot of clearance, but
Yeah,
they're free and clear.
any we found were above the water, above the dirt line. Some of them pretty close, but
I know Rembrandt has complained over the years that it's so close to their outlets.
our profile in the plans show it very close. We show the tile outlets we found. and where it is compared to the dash line that's the existing ground out there now in the bottom of the ditch. So they're close, but they do daylight.
And that's good, but, and correct me if my thinking here is wrong, but why, if we did that project and we didn't put in the lower tile, what would be the sense of cleaning below the culvert line?
It'd be very little good to the district. I mean,
Right.
you'd just start silting in again.
Right.
Yeah.
You were talking about stopping the clean out at the ditch, or the
Well, okay, we're
road there.
gonna stop at the south end of the culvert, is what we do. So,
Okay.
what's that? South end of the culvert, because we're coming, yeah, here, this shows you better. We'd start at ditch 1 and
Yeah.
come up to the paved road.
Yep.
And stop right there. So anything that drains into this would be benefited. Above it, no, because they'd be stuck with that high pipe.
I'm backwards, yeah.
Okay. So, the amount of dirt work above that point is not a lot because it's such a short distance. So if we found a way to drain that, get a pipe in lower somehow, we just add the quantity of dirt. We've got that figured, it's just not in this report. And the note I put to myself was, note that the cleanout stops at 450 at the culvert, under 450 is too high and the road is paved. Just as a reminder to myself to mention that, so.
So what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is to go this far with it at this point.
At what depth?
The-
To take the whole 3.5 feet of silt out, or?
Yes, that take it from ditch 1, which is gonna be cleaned this fall and next spring, go from the flow line of that to this, what is the correct flow line at 450th. Then stop, because you wouldn't lose anything by doing that, and you would help everything from the paved road south. No extra cost involved, no lost money there. It's just how do we go further north? We need to just figure that out.
And on top of that, for Rembrandt and the other landowners north of there, they might see less water just sitting in the bottom of the ditch. Because further down it's cleaned out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's gonna benefit the high flow,
Yes,
yes.
by all means.
You know, we'll get rid of water faster that way.
Yeah, you're basically improving the outlet of the upper part by getting the water level down.
And if you don't clean it out, you don't have to worry about it soaking up, that's in a sense, because it's probably got found its grade already. So.
Yeah, pretty true.
I guess in my opinion, this is probably the best way to handle it for now. I'll make a motion to approve the engineer's report for DD1 Lat 4.
I'll second that. A motion from Derby and a second from Stenger to approve the engineer's report for DD1 Lat 4. All in favor say aye. Aye. Great, set public hearing date for engineer report on DD1 Lat 4. 9:30,
Probably go
15, 20 minutes, or?
This will just depend on if people come,
Yeah.
you know. I would say 9:30.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for DD1 Lat 4 for January 19th, 2018 at 9.
January 19th or 9th?
January 9th, 2018 at 9:30.
Second.
Motion Derby and a second from Stenger to set the public hearing date for engineer report on DD1 Lot 4 for January 9th at 9:30. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Take care of Elder Bridge quick here then.
I feel like I'm sneaking in the middle of your discussion.
I hope you have your waders on for drainage. Okay, 9:30 a.m. Elder Bridge to discuss annual report.
Thank you. Elderbridge, once again, does our best to serve seniors and adults with disabilities in the 29 counties in our area. Winnebago County is close to our Mason City office, and I think that we do a good job serving the citizens up here. I always, well, not always, but since the first year when Mr. Stensrud pointed a few things out to me, I have tried to study this a little better. I can tell you that Bison Senior Centers received an anonymous contribution through Elderbridge to reduce the prices of their home-delivered and congregate meals. So that's why the Bison Center is significantly lower than the other two. I can also tell you that home-delivered meals run a little higher than congregate because of the cost of the trays involved to deliver the food on. Elderbridge tries to be a good steward of the county funds. We deliver a good return on the county contributions. And again, the county contributions are so important to us because they allow us to apply for external grants. We've applied for grants and received grants from the Department of Public Health and the Attorney General's office, and we couldn't do that if we didn't have county local public funds. We wouldn't have the match in order to go after those. So we appreciate your support in the past. Hope you support us in the future, and I'll answer any questions you might have. I'm sorry. One other thing that jumps out a little bit is the material aid unmet needs, why Elderbridge's cost is so much higher than your public health nursing. Your public health nursing uses those funds for things like reassurance and visiting. And for Elderbridge, it tends to be things like building a ramp for someone who needs one to get in and out of their home. We've purchased lift chairs, that type of thing.
What was that comparison?
At the material aid unmet needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Elderbridge, we spend about $230 a consumer, where your public health nursing only spends about $950. And it's because there's a significant difference in what we do with those funds.
But those individual costs here aren't on this sheet. Okay.
Right.
And in your request,
We're requesting the same amount we requested last year, $2.85 per senior for $7,755.
you're indicating more seniors this year?
We're still going off the 2010 census. We'll be moving. Our board of directors believes in smoothing the costs a little bit. We know seniors are going up, but they feel it's unfair to continually ask for more money from the counties. As you know, it's been a tough year. We received about a 9% cut from the state. But we persevere. So we appreciate your consideration. And, we're always available if you want to give us a call.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you. And I hope you don't mind if I don't stay for the next one.
You're fine.
Oh, come on.
It's just more the same.
Okay.
Louise?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
All right,
Sub-district now?
Once,
Subway.
lap 4 subway.
9:40 a.m., consider approval of engineer report on DD1 lap 4 subway.
Okay, this is the upper end, they're both on that plan sheet that you had, this is just the yellow portion that this report reflects. The one culvert that's in bad shape and too high is right there, and then the other one that's good shape under the paved road but too high is there. So what we've done here is come up with the cost and the amount of silt that it would take to clean out one. It's not very long. It's got almost 10,000 yards of dirt in it. So this isn't a cheap clean out, just because there's a lot of silt for the acres involved. We just found 3 pipe is all that needed replacement, and I emphasize we'll find more than likely. We tried to include all the costs that we would anticipate, plus contingencies. Again, I just threw a few bucks in there for reclass in case there's anything we need to review or whatever, but probably no cost there. Estimated total project cost of a little over $59,000. This ends up about $43 an acre. Still not a lot when you compare it to inputs for what they'd gain, but it means we'd have to get 2 pipes lowered to get them the benefit that they should have for this. One of them being bad condition and not a problem to replace. The other one's very expensive. So a lot of silt in here.
How high is that culvert? Because I had in my plat, it was 11 inches. The one on A30.
Okay, the one on A30. They're so small. I didn't get this one changed. Can you read those 2 numbers? Just pick a spot.
1239.1,
And the other one?
1229.7.
Okay. So almost 2 feet.
Boy.
Yeah. When you look at the profile, you can see. Yeah, no, that's. Okay, yeah, that's the one under A30. Yep.
Over 2 feet.
Yeah, a little over. Yes. Yep. And if you want to, you can read the numbers here. Let's see. I think we have a flow line in this one too. Flow line out is 23.15, and then we should have the design grade down here below it.
26.
So, yeah, it's.
You don't know this guy, but if we don't do it, Ron Peterson's not going to get benefit. And that's, his farms were horrible. Yeah, been.
But that's the one we're doing an improvement to get to the sub-1 ditch.
Right, but if they won't take it away, I'm just bringing up the problems that are going to come up here.
Yes.
The big flows will still happen, it's just you aren't gonna completely drain down.
Right. The big flows will still happen, but you're losing that bottom 2 feet or a little more in places.
What was that pipe set?
I don't know what it was set.
The one on A30?
That didn't get taken out no.
I don't know the answer to that. I can find out.
Before.
If it's in good shape, the one on A30?
Yeah.
If it's in good shape, I expect in the last 10 maybe years.
Yeah, it's been there.
But we can certainly look at it.
10 years, more than 10 years.
Well, it was around 2000 when the railroad came with it.
Yeah, at least 15 years since that. Did we pave it much after that?
2010?
5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, that's it.
What's the cost?
Cost would be, I would say, 60 to 90,000.
Yeah, big pipe, paved road.
The cost of boring something next to it to take care of the low flow?
How big?
Well, enough to take care of the low flow, whatever. How big do you think that would have to be?
Minimum of 36 inch probably.
Boring at 36, that's a big hole.
Yeah, it is a big hole. Just my impression at this point. Any thoughts?
Yeah, that's what I would say. And I don't know,
Is this a
30, 40,000?
Is this metal pipe?
Yes.
And it's also not that great of a solution compared to replacing it.
Yeah.
No, replacing it's by far the
Way better drainage wise.
best,
Yeah.
best case scenario.
Tough call, because when it's functioning well, it's decent shape, the road's relatively new, super highway for a county system with that much concrete over asphalt. Yeah, tough call.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was 2 years ago before we paved it.
Yeah, there you go. What do they do? I think you go ahead with the hearing and get all the facts out. I mean, that's,
Let the people speak.
yeah, that's my impression at this point.
So in your recommendations, you're recommending cleaning everything south of the A30 and everything east of 130th?
Well, I'm not recommending you doing anything east of 130th until something gets figured out with a culvert. Yeah. This is what it would take to do it once the culverts were lowered. But not clean it out right now. Get pipe replacement in as some kind of plan down the road, not too far.
Maybe somewhat amenable to that because they're going to be paying for a lot of this year anyway. They can spread it out over a couple different projects.
True. That would be part of the discussion, I'm sure, that comes up.
Just wondering.
Have the hearing,
And we can talk more with the engineering department and see if their heads together and figure something out and maybe look how many years down the road it might be.
I guess we need a motion to approve the engineer's report.
And I'll make a motion to approve the engineer's report for DD1, Lat 4, Sub 1.
second
Motion from Derby, second from Stenger, to approve the engineer's report for DD1, Lat 4, Sub 1. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, set public hearing date for engineer's report on DD1, Lat 4, Sub 1.
I'd like to make a motion to set the public hearing date for DD1, Lat 4, Sub 1 for January 9th, 2018 at 9:40 a.m.
Second that.
Motion from Derby, second from Stenger. Excuse me. Just set the public hearing date for engineer report on Lat 4, Sub 1 for 1/9/18 at 9:40. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Now, I didn't have on here to do the bid lettings. We can put it on the agenda for next week and we can just set those.
We've got time, so.
Set
Yeah.
those for
And we
the
can
same
do
day
it
then.
for that same day.
Well, there again, we run into the problem, what if we don't go ahead with it?
Well, we can do that. Say we'll do all the bid lettings at the last of the meeting. Have the hearings all first.
He's talking about Sub 1.
Right.
No, but
What
the
do
same
you-
problem with 103, what if we don't go ahead with it? Why would we let it
Gotcha.
out? Why would we have the contractors go to all the work of,
Putting the bid
Right.
together.
put the
Yeah.
bid together if we don't go ahead with it?
That's a good point.
Well, what about are you gonna do any of them?
With the Lat 4.
Well, I would assume that the first, Lat 1, or Lat 2,
Lat 2 and Lat 4.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do those two though?
I would assume that Lat 2 would go through, but you don't know either, so.
Well, no, it's a repair, so it has to go through.
Yeah.
Okay,
Lat 2 and Lat 4 are both repairs, which you're
They're just
required to go
cleanouts.
forward with.
Yeah.
So those, you're safe doing the bid letting, and that's where I mentioned that Lat 4, you're only paying for the work you're doing.
okay.
The work above the paved road will be cost sometime in the future, but it won't be added cost. I mean, you're not doubling costs, I guess is what I'm saying. You're just paying for the work being done. So I see those two as being worthwhile to go forward with the bid letting. And January is a perfect month to bid those.
That gets back to my question 10 minutes ago. Are we gonna dig out all 3.5 feet of silt on the north side, or?
Not on the north side. No, we won't touch the north side of the paved road for now. unless we get something figured out for,
And maybe what we can do is if we do the sub one and get that all done, then the project can start from 450th and go,
yes,
continue on that lateral and then go east.
that would be a good idea. You can combine both of those and make it that one project. And we're looking far enough out, I don't know that we'll come up with a great solution for that culvert that is in good shape. If we would, there's still time for you to set a bid letting. We've got a month yet if we can get things figured out, that you could go forward with that, but I'll be surprised.
It'd be good just to maybe have the hearing on that one.
Yeah.
And then we can always bid that later.
Yes. It doesn't take much to put a bid package together when we've got reports to this stage.
So, and we'll put it on the agenda for next week to do the 2 bid letting dates.
2 and 4.
Yes.
Yep. So, does that work? Then the only other last question I have on these is, we had the sub 1 lat 2 of DD 1 lat 4, the Ron Peterson deal.
Yeah.
So what are we, is that the one we just talked about?
They filled out all their paperwork and we need to proceed, I suppose, with the engineering part of it.
I mean, I just haven't done anything with it, because it's not part of his reporting, right? I mean, or is it?
I thought we appointed him the engineer for that. Didn't we?
I don't think so.
We discussed it one meeting and thought we appointed him the engineer, and then somehow this all ended up as part of it before the improvement.
No, I think we just talked to Jerry, didn't we?
Yeah, because it said Terry's going to get a couple estimates from Rognus for repair and or an improvement.
He was gonna check it out, yeah.
So then I don't know
But if it's
where that's
improvement,
at.
we have to, if they filed the paperwork for an improvement, then we have to get an engineer for it, don't we?
Well, but we don't know if it's a repair or an improvement. He has a petition for both.
Well, his first petition was for repair,
Right.
and then his second one was for.
But that's what Jerry said, he wouldn't advise that. He said it wouldn't help unless we go ahead and put that new line in. That's my recollection.
So
Yeah.
I just don't know where we're at on it.
Well, he did some repairs up there a while back.
So maybe we're just done with that one.
I doubt it. but-
Okay.
I'm sure he wants the improvement.
Okay, well, somehow we need to find that out then. And then we can appoint somebody or whatever, but I have not had the go-ahead to do that.
You don't have the paperwork for that?
Not signed by an engineer. The last I knew anything was we did it 11/22 of 16. That's the last time it's been talked about.
With Jerry.
What district is this in?
It's up in that same
Okay.
area.
Coming off straight off.
Is that the one with tile?
Yeah,
Possible tile improvements?
yes.
Okay, because we did look at some numbers at one time, but
It's straight through the road into the end of the sub one.
sub one, okay. We've looked at sizing for that is all I know,
Yeah.
but not to the stage of a report.
We went through the process.
Is that the one that they were talking about running another line right along the?
They're looking at different options.
I'll check
But
what
we
we've
don't have
done
an
so far.
engineer to do those options either, so I don't know where anybody's at. I don't know where Jerry Rognus is at it, I don't know who's doing anything. So that's all
I'll look at my notes. It's been, what, 6
Yeah.
months?
We've done some calculations, I know, on capacities, and capacities required is all I remember doing so far. No formal report. And we talked to the landowner at one time, months and months ago, about it, but nothing formal.
We haven't officially,
We want to put it on the agenda for next week to officially.
Right, that's why I wanted to bring it up today, was
Okay.
to where are we at and what do we need to do? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Number 14, discussion with possible action regarding possible grants for courthouse repair project.
got Teresa's email on what's available, what's not available at this point.
Yeah. We did apply for the,
WDA Foundation.
yep, and she also gave me information for Hanson Foundation.
Winnebago County Foundation's a possibility.
And then one more.
The one that we would benefit the most out of would be the State Historical Society and other things like that, and they have been funded. So, the way it sounded in her letter, there's no opportunity for their large funds. Most of these local funds would be helpful,
But smaller.
much smaller scale.
And they're not kind of hard to get the way it's started.
She's said she wasn't real optimistic.
I know that there's one of them, I know they've got a lot of money tied up right now and other promises. Oh yeah, the WCDA was the other one that she was talking about. That would be a challenge because we're not in Ford County. They do fund things adjacent counties.
What kind of amounts were the grants?
The smaller one we just applied for, I think we applied for 10,000. And what we do there, hopefully use that one as a match towards another one. And, any matches, any other support you can show looks good on an application. There's another one we probably apply for 50, or apply for 100 and expect 50 or something. Kind of varies from if you went with the county foundation, you probably wouldn't expect more than 10 or 20. But the struggle with it is, as a taxing entity, foundations look at it as, well, you have a way to get your money just taxed for it. That's a struggle sometimes too.
Anything else on that?
Do you want to make a motion to
Proceed with
go with this?
all avenues that we can find.
Mhm.
Then would we have to do resolutions as they are ready, or just proceed and bring the signature to him?
I think just as long as you're giving me the go ahead to work on it, Teresa, I think that's the important part.
I guess I can make a motion to proceed with pursuing the grant opportunities going forward
Second that.
with the courthouse repairs.
Probably.
Number 16, consider for approval some of monthly county claims.
Scott.
We've got Scott.
What?
Number 12.
Oh, look at that. Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Yeah, well, as far as maintenance and projects go, the bridge project south of the Leland Grain Elevator, that road got closed on Monday. And they started to take the bridge out, and I assume they have most of it out by now, but I'm headed out there right after the meeting. They're on a 3-week plan, an ambitious 3-week plan to try to get that project wrapped up. But it could take 3 to 5 weeks to get that completed, kind of depending on how the cold weather and all that stuff comes about. PCI is the contractor on that job, and I think they'll do a nice job. Other than that, our crew is doing some intake and tile repair, culvert separation, some of those small jobs, trying to get things wrapped up before winter, as well as kind of resurfacing some of the settled areas that we fixed early in the summer, that kind of thing, and mowing snow traps and shoulders and that kind of thing. So pretty well gearing up for winter maintenance. I also brought for you today something we put together for you every year, and I'm not sure when this started, but this is something that kind of gives you an overview of our department and is updated year to year to show you some of our accomplishments, projects we've completed. So as you see, it tells you how many miles of road, what our personnel looks like, what everybody makes, and what our contracts look like. It also shows construction projects for this year, and as you can see in that list, we've been busy this year and have accomplished quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 major crossings we redid this year with our own county forces. We also did a major repair and have another one underway under contract. Shows you the equipment we have purchased there, the dump truck, wheel loader, pup trailer, and the pickups. So I think a lot to be proud of for our crew this year. We did a lot. And this year I too wanted to add a component to this report, just as we've been a little bit disappointed with some of the messaging coming out of this room with finances. I wanted to give you an update about our department's financial situation. The secondary road department, as you know, funded primarily by road use tax from the state and local taxes from rural property. In this fiscal year, secondary road fund did not receive any funding from the general fund. We have in some past years, but not this year. We, as the secondary road department, are committed to spending less than the approved amount in the annual budget every year. And in the past 5 years, we've cumulatively spent $228,000 less than our budgets, which has grown our secondary road fund carryover balance to over $500,000. That's something we've been encouraged to do for the last few years, to try to get our carryover balance up to that point, to be more fiscally responsible and have funds in place for emergencies or whatever might come up. Today, rural basic fund is projected to be solvent and sufficiently support the secondary road fund transfers of about $1 million through the year as planned. The secondary road fund is also expecting about $2.5 million from road use tax revenues this fiscal year in total. So as you can see, about 67% of our funding comes from the state. We had about $671,000 in the secondary road fund as of September 30th, and steady revenue coming in. So I wanted to make it known that the public can expect the same high level of service for snow removal this winter and road and bridge repair going forward. And in the meantime, our department will continue to make the necessary purchases for construction maintenance, materials, and equipment that have been approved in our budget. Does anyone have any questions on either of those two sheets of information?
So on your chart, you show 32% coming from local taxes, but you indicated you did not receive any funding from the general fund. So when you say local taxes, what do you mean by that?
So those are rural basic taxes rather than general basic taxes. think the origin of this report come from, I think, supervisors before you had asked for a sheet like this to take to the state conferences or wherever for district meetings, just to have information handy in order to talk back and forth with other supervisors.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Good information. So, how far in the future do you anticipate that A30 crossing?
I'd like to look up what year it was installed. You know, we have replaced only a few large metal culverts since I've been here. So I have kind of limited experience with knowing how long they're going to last. I think it's safe to say you can expect 30 to 50 years life out of a culvert. So if it was put in 10 years ago, it should look pretty good for another 20. So then the question becomes, do we want to wait till it's reached the end of its life, or do we want to have the district put pressure on the secondary road department to accelerate that project?
Well, my fear is, if there is a petition to repair, can we stop it? Can we force us to do this, to that repair state code?
I mean, on a repair, you're not supposed to stop it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's an
Unless there
interesting
were
question.
people, landowners that were all right with it not being done.
And that's why it'll be nice to have that hearing, just to tell the landowners, well, this is what has to happen. How do you feel about it now?
Yeah.
You know, is there something else we can do in the meantime? I don't know.
Yeah. While they will not necessarily feel the impact of that replacement cost, it is part of their taxes that they pay.
Right.
Feel it from another area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this thing is only, say, 10 to 15 years old and it's in good shape, is it worth dropping it?
Potentially, we had planned to lower the one in Linden Township, the one we lowered this year, and ended up ordering a new pipe. Just kind of, it's a lot of work to do to leave a used pipe in the ground, especially under pavement. So I would say that's probably not a...
But you could maybe recycle this one for another purpose?
It's possible. If it came out of the ground in good shape and, wasn't rusty, the coatings were intact, and it had good shape and everything, possible. Especially to put it under a gravel road where it's more accessible.
If you replace it with concrete, would you?
If it's a 102, like he was saying, we wouldn't have to. My preference for this kind of application would be to use concrete, but it would be more expensive. For a 102, I don't know if we'd order pipe that big. I think maybe you put in an 8x8 box culvert or something like that if you had the cash to do so, and I think they're more economical in the long run, especially under pavement where it's such a cost. So, if we're trying to squeeze it in our program where we already have a list of projects occupying the funds, we'd probably go to use a metal pipe again, just because it's less expensive.
And that's 30 to 50 years?
Yeah,
Metal pipe?
I think so.
And concrete is...
I think Jim said that was a 50-year life on that road, if I remember correctly.
Okay, it could be. I mean, it's about as good as the road can be built, if it's, much less than interstate. But and the concrete structure, the life is like maybe 100 years. You don't, not quite sure. So that's kind of why you lean toward that. But so I think it's kind of up to the district how much pressure they want to put on us. Otherwise, as far as our secondary road responsibilities, we would wait for the structure to age.
Well, the petition's been made, so really it's going to be up to us three. So
Well, yeah.
Well, see
It's
what their feelings are. Maybe they wanna push it off a couple of years to,
If there's
then
there's
we
a
can
way-
budget for
Can
it.
they stop a repair? Now that they put the petition in?
I mean, we're doing digging downstream to get rid of
Right,
some of the water
right.
pressure,
It'll
so.
have a notable benefit just for doing that part.
we're making a large percentage of the repair, we're just not doing the last.
Right. I was
If
just
there's a
wondering.
landowner that absolutely wants that repair done, I don't think you can stop it, can you?
Well, my question was, once the petition has been, and it has.
Yeah.
Do we by law now have to go forward?
Go forward and do it anyway, whether you don't get a choice at all. Even if the landowner's okay with it, you mean?
Yeah.
Probably technically.
But maybe we can wait a year. I mean, it sounds like you're not gonna do anything. Maybe if the landowners are okay with it, you can push it off a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will allow define how long you take to do it. you know,
Right.
And then, allow ourselves way to budget for it.
Yeah, and then get it in their planning, I guess. Sector.
There again, when it says you need to do the repair, in our way of looking at it is, we think that the lower end will help a lot, because we're clearing out the main ditch plus the lat 4 ditch and up to the road.
And by having the hearings, the landowners know that you have made an effort to get the repairs. It's not that you're ignoring it.
Right now, water will sit in that ditch above the pipe all the time because of the silting below the pipe. And now we should be able to almost drain that ditch if you are dropping down into the ditch there. So that will lower the level at times. So I feel comfortable going into the meeting and explaining it to them.
Okay, anything else for secondary roads?
I have nothing.
All right, we'll move on to number 15, open forum. Anything else?
I came down and sat with the auctioneer for an hour and a half on Saturday, and nobody showed up. But that's worth to you, but.
Oh, for the auctioning of stuff.
Well, hopefully it's just because everybody's busy this time of year.
Hopefully.
Okay, nothing else for open forum? All right, move on to consider for approval some of the county claims.
I have a couple questions, but I gotta flag them.
Those are your county claims.
Those are secondary roads.
Don't you have the general sheet right in here?
Those are how we're gonna do the county claims from now on.
Do you know who you had a question on? Do you remember?
One was Thomas Kaufman. It was that's huge, 13,
It was his department
Yeah.
or for him?
no Veterans Affairs.
Okay. And if you could please keep them in order. Very appreciated.
So like the big claims, we're gonna need you all to sign each claim, all three of you.
Do we
What's
want
that?
to put far as claims go, do you want to approve any claims before they purchase things anymore? You know, if it's over $500, do you want to approve it before it's purchased? So you know, instead of just everybody getting to spend money and then asking for forgiveness later. I'd like your input on what you'd like to see for the future.
Well, I think that should be an agenda item.
Right. But is it something you're willing to consider?
I don't think that's necessary myself. I think we should be going through these, but I think that we can approve the county claims like we have been doing. But there again, I think we should put that on the agenda and talk about it next week.
In the first folder, should be the assessors and anything that is out of the ordinary.
I did have a question, assessor-wise. She's still at the $75 rate of reimbursement. Is that good?
You'd have to ask her. We don't get to see her.
Okay.
She did bring it up once, and for their plan and for what the policy states, she's still in the realm, yes. And it would be technically more than the 75. I'd like to revisit that policy too sometime.
This one, pull it back. is that Mike Allen?
One for Thomas, was that the gas bill one?
Do you have the general?
$680.90.
Do you have the general sheet?
And that was approved by his board.
It was approved by his board. It's a veteran that had a large gas bill and the inability to work, pay it off.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
All right. Hey Jay, can you stick your head out there and see if Dave Peterson's down there?
Why is it not thin?
Okay.
The acute emergency treatment services for the 4-city ambulance, do you get reimbursed for that?
Unless we can get it from the defendant, but that's probably not gonna happen, I guess. That was like $1,100 or something like that.
Yeah, nine.
Stick around here.
That is huge. 958.
I'll keep my distance. Take care.
You know, it's just like anything else, we try and bill it back, Mike, but actually, I think that guy's down in prison right now anyway, so.
somebody that's down in prison that's been sentenced?
I'm sorry.
Somebody that was sentenced?
Yes. Yep.
About this one?
Yeah. Okay, we have, next generations on the master, and I don't see a matching bill for it. $513.50. That's Middlestate, next one is MG1909.
513.50.
Yeah. Thank you.
And NGT had sent a bill because it didn't get paid from June, evidently. Somehow it got missed from everyone, and it should have been out of the communications department because that's when the communications was paying for it. So Eric paid it out of that this time. One thing that I'd like to bring up is, did we know that NGT was going to charge communications and the sheriff's department like almost $4,000 a month to do services?
I wasn't looking at that.
Yeah, it's $1,100 to do the sheriff's and almost $3,000 to do communications a month.
It was in their meeting.
$1,100 for the sheriff's, I knew about.
It was part of the communications contract.
I'm just saying that it's almost $2,900 to do the communications alone, and it's $1,100 for Dave's. And we kept Eric's salary the same, and we're adding more. So that's how sometimes our budget gets awry, because now we're paying two people to do what one was doing.
But communications.
Well, I'll throw a little bit at that. If we went with the other way, he was cheaper than keeping what you've got now. So if we're gonna look at that, we gotta look
No,
at.
and I wasn't looking at it negatively. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, no, I wasn't trying to do that. I'm just saying that that's how our budget, we pay one and we pay another. No matter what it's for, or who it's for. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Not right now. The thing that makes me just a bit nervous about them is we really need to watch their billing and make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. I know that they had a question on communications, that there was an estimate for 3 of something and they only got 2 and they billed us for the 3. So just to be, just to make sure that you are getting what you're paying for. So, and that they're explaining what you're getting. Because I don't want them to just throw.
Well, Hancock County seems to be satisfied with them.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure they're doing great. Yeah. I don't mind their company at all. I just want them to be apparent in what they're doing.
Well, if I remember right, Brian came up and explained it all to me, didn't he? Eric?
To my knowledge, yeah. Yeah, because they had a meeting in here, yeah, one day.
Well, I'm not going to whatever you want me to say. I think she told us that we should stop. So, we could talk about next time. Just little few actions going on here like that.
Well, and I guess this is how it used to be done. Is that the supervisors would go through everyone before they even got paid?
Oh, I've never seen it.
No, it was back in the day. It wasn't your guys' day.
No.
But like Julie remembers when so it's been since she's been here, that they would go through each one.
You need to put on the agenda, but this is not necessary. We individuals should come in 1 week and go through secondary roads. The 2 weeks later, come in and do auditor and treasurer.
Well, and they're alphabetical, so that's,
Right.
yeah.
It's hard to do when it's in vendor alphabetical.
It's in vendor alphabetical, not department alphabetical.
It
But that
it
is,
should be
yeah,
done, it should be done, every time we get this report, we should come in and pick out 4 of the folders
sure.
and go through them.
Yeah, and so
But
we,
to
yeah.
go- But to go through these each individually is a waste of time.
Well, and we can, yeah, we'll put it on the agenda for next week.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's not a claims week next week, so, yeah. I just want some more direction from you guys.
Yep, and I appreciate that. The one thing that, well, wait till next week.
I think if,
I'll make a motion to approve the county funds.
I'll second the motion.
Stand through to the secretary to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye.
and I think the thing that frustrates me is I see all of them every time. And I see what we spend and what we do. And if all the departments were to see what everybody else is spending, maybe they'd realize that there's a lot going on.
And I,
And
where this big brouhaha's come from is that I was been thinking about this, and again, shame on me, I can't believe I didn't see it till now. We need to have a balance sheet every 2 weeks, or every month.
well, and that's,
That, we could have avoided this whole mess if we'd have been, and it's my fault. This is on me. I should have asked for this when I first got on, I wasn't even thinking. We should simply have a balance sheet to see where we are financially every single month.
and we do a cash and investment that I send to
But that doesn't
Carla.
help us, we gotta have a balance sheet, not.
But it is a fund balance of all the funds.
Even the report Julie gives doesn't help us. You gotta have a balance sheet.
So we should figure out a way, what it is you're looking for and how we can get it to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep, and that's not a problem. We just have to make sure.
That's exactly how we do it at the town. I mean, I can tell you exactly within a percent where we're headed in the telephone company.
Okay.
We can't do that here because we don't have a balance sheet, or we don't have a report for it.
Right.
Never have. I don't think it's ever been done.
Right. So, do you care if maybe you show me what that looks like?
Yeah.
The WCTA one? And then I can see if I can finagle a report out?
And I know county finances are different than private.
Sure, sure. And our software is different in what we can get, but if I can see one.
Either shorter. Yep, give me half an hour.
So yeah, if I can see what that looks like, I can see what I can get.
Well, it's a simple balance sheet. If you want one, we get the same report in NICOG. We know exactly where we're sitting financially.
Yeah, and I don't see any of those.
Yeah.
Just an example would be good.
Have him email. You want me to call him?
Yeah, because I don't know who you're calling.
Huh?
I don't know who you're calling at NICOG.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, just to see, because I can certainly come up with something.
And
then that can just be part of my month-end reporting.
Shows the overall budget and where we're at for each category.
Yep.
And that's the type we get for the regional emergency management.
We would have seen the finances dwindling down over the last 3-4 months if we would have had something like that. And it's nobody's fault. I mean, that part isn't. I'm disappointed I didn't see it earlier.
So yeah, we'll certainly do that.
And that would be a humongous help. And I would think that'd be simple. I would think it's in the program. I don't know. I would think it would be.
Oops, something. I'll add it to my month-end reports or my month-end that I do.
Yeah.
Just like your expenditures, I would just send it on the report. Mike made a motion and Terry seconded it. The claims.
Did we vote?
Yeah, there we go. So I suppose we're standing here now. We got signatures up.
We stand adjourned.
Awesome, I guess so far.